Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is November 17th of 2020. I'm still using Windows 10, but I did install Manjaro XFCE 20.1. And so right now I have a dual boot computer. I can boot up into Windows 10 or I can boot up into Manjaro, and I checked out Manjaro. I've tried out, just about all. I think the Linux, you know, things over the years. Uh, this was recommended by, not personally, but on his show, the Tech TV guy, the owner of Twit. And he was talking to somebody who recommended. I thought I'd never tried this. I gave it a try, and I actually I don't like it because with Ubuntu versions and what are all the others? Well, just about all of them that I've tried. I go right into it, and I have no problem really navigating around and doing the settings and that type of stuff. And with this one, it was just kind of confusing the way they did things. I think the thing is that they gave you more ability to do things, but I didn't spend a lot of time messing with it. I looked at it, but so I'm not. I'll probably now have difficulty getting it, but I'll just, I think, leave it alone. And because I would probably, if I tried to just delete the Manjaro partition, probably would run the Windows 110. Something would write to the directory that when you boot up, and it would mess it up probably. So I'll just stay with Windows 10 until I can come up with the money for the new iPad Air 4, which is about $600, and has the A14 processor. And I think I'm just going to just time. I think I'll still have my Windows 10 computer running, I think, unless I can just totally transfer, which I should be able to, and be an Apple person. This is just going to be a little general blog, so I don't know. I don't have any notes. I have a few things that I just want to mention. By the way, I'll put the link for this. I forget how many pounds this is. Well, this is because I dumped it in there, but best price I've seen for walnuts, and you can get it from Amazon in a big bag. Maybe they have other sizes too. And I was worried about it, that it's fresh, and I just sit and eat too much of them because I dump them into a container like this, and then I sit here. I don't think they're bad for you, but probably better than a lot of stuff I eat. I don't get a lot of people asking questions or even leaving comments on my YouTube site. But I read this site all the time. I started years ago. I got hooked on it. And I read these questions that people ask and the answers. And I actually, 2 or 3 times, I've actually answered a question that was asked. And I thought what I might start doing is taking some of these questions and giving my answer, because I don't get people asking me. Okay. But I'm going to do that right. I don't want to do that right now. I'll put the link to these walnuts. Get them off of Amazon. Okay, I mentioned the Linux version. Oh, okay. The other day, there was a news article someplace about HBO Max, which I forget now what the deal with it was, but they changed their name of the HBO, or maybe they had HBO Max doing something. But the other day, they, I guess, went to HBO Max. And let's see if we get an answer here. HBO Max is a streaming portion that bundles all of the HBO together, and even one of your favorite TV series, blockbuster movies, plus new Max originals. Okay. Well, that's not what it... So anyway, I started reading it wherever I went, and I thought, okay, well, because I'm signed up for Amazon Prime. What are the rest? Oh, I signed up for a bunch of things. So through Amazon Prime, I signed up a while back for HBO because my ex-wife wanted to be able to watch Game of Thrones. Oh, a few other things. So we're still signed up for it. And I think they just raised the price a while back, a month or so ago, I believe, of maybe Amazon Prime a little bit, I believe. But anyway, I got an announcement that, well, it was the news story that, and so we subscribed through Amazon Prime for HBO through that. I think it was like $15 a month, something I think. And then I saw this thing where new and improved, and going to be HBO Max, and you're going to get this, and then I'm reading it and thinking, okay, well, that sounds okay. I was going to go ahead and cancel HBO, because we don't watch now that much of it. I thought, okay, I'll keep it. And then at the end of the article, it said that the change, I think it was the 13th, I believe, probably wrong, November 13th, I think that was when it was going to take effect. I thought, oh, that's tomorrow. And I was, in fact, I did go and check it. But before I got done reading that article, it said if you get HBO Max through Roku TV set, or if you get it through Amazon Prime, you will not get the new HBO Max, because both of those companies, Amazon Prime and Roku, are in a debate. They're arguing with each other over, money or something, I don't know. So you will not get the benefits of it. And then today, the 17th, I just got an email from Amazon Prime saying, today, the 17th, you now have access to HBO Max. I just looked. I really didn't see any, but it's hard, you know. So, so I guess probably Roku will be coming through here before long, and they'll make a deal. There's a there's a lot of Roku. I have a small Roku, which it's on the floor. Been on the floor almost forever. My ex-wife, my grown son, and I, we share this apartment, and they all chip in. We all chip in together. She has a big Roku, and she's gone through several of them. She has a big Roku, TV, and she's handicapped, confined to a wheelchair, whatever. She watches television all the time. She has it on when she goes to sleep, even in her sleep. I'll go into the kitchen to get something in the middle of the night because I enlarged prostate, all that kind of stuff, And I'll wake up and she'll have the remote in, she'll be asleep and she'll be, pressing the button. So it goes, so I guess that's covering that subject. If I can find some good links, when I upload this video, but if I can find some good links explaining about the HBO Max and whatever, I'll put links to that below. If I can't, or if you don't see it, then it means, if you have a good link explaining it, or please post it in a comment, and if it's a good link, I'll check it, and if it's a good link, I'll move it up, to the top right underneath. Let's see. That takes care of HBO Max. I need to take pain for arthritis right now. Oh, there's my Coke. Okay, got it down. That was an naproxen. Works pretty good. At my age, I wish I could get something better. But actually, it seems like it works okay. I've got arthritis bad. Had it for a long time. So, okay, let's go to... because the first paragraph, I think I reminded, it's what goes on behind the scenes in stores that customers would be shocked to know. And this person answers, when I was at Walmart, part of my job was breaking up the ice in the freezer with a small sledgehammer. I got the hammer out one night, and one of the guys asked me what I was doing with it. I said I was going to use it on a customer. He said, in that case, let me get you a bigger hammer. And this guy, joke. Then this guy goes on to say, I think the people who shop at Walmart will be really surprised at how much the employees hate the customers. The reason is something called Taylorism or Taylorism. Taylor is the guy who took out his stopwatch and decided that if a guy on the assembly line stood 6 inches closer to the next guy, he could tighten 3 screws per minute instead of 2. So Walmart decided that people would be assigned tasks and given so much time to complete them. And since they deliberately understaff their stores, the amount of time allowed is relatively short. They also have a rule that if a customer asks where something is, you can't just give them directions, you have to take them there. So I want to stop there. When I got out of high school, my desire was to go in the military. I went down and tried to enlist. They wouldn't take me. A couple years later, I got a selective service notice to take my physical. I took my physical. They sent me a card, said 1A. I went down, tried to enlist, and I said, I'm kind of pissed. I wanted to make a career out of the military. It's been 2 years and whatever. So they checked. I got a card saying 1Y. So they wouldn't take me. But, in the meantime, as soon as I got out of high school and the military wouldn't take me, my dad paid for me to take because a book had just come out. It was a big seller back then, How to Make $1 Million in Real Estate. My dad had read it. And so I said, I don't want to be real estate. I want, So he paid. I went to real estate school. I graduated from real estate school. I never did anything with real estate. So my dad paid for me to go to welding school in Cleveland, Ohio. Actually, Euclid, Ohio. But so went out there and took the welding course. So now get to the point, Jim. Get to the point, Jim. Lincoln Electric Company, it was a great course. They had some great welding courses. And they're a big company for welding machines and welding rods and everything else. And I worked doing welding for years, different jobs. Worked at the Darby Corporation, building railroad cars. Worked at I went to I went to Pasco. No, I was heading for Pascagoula, Mississippi, to the Union Hall to work at the shipyard. But I went over to New Orleans, I think it was, and checked into the Union office and worked at on an oil refinery in Convent, Louisiana. I went back to Kansas City, and actually I'd taken the test for the post office. I got hired into the post office. After a few months, I told them to take the job and shove it. Probably not a good idea. It was a career civil service appointment. Worked for the Hess Carriage Company, making trucks. Worked for the KW Dart Truck Company, making gigantic trucks. I worked at a body shop, and those things you see doing mining that are, and I had other jobs. So when I went to when I went to Euclid, Ohio, the Lincoln Electric Company, they used, I'm not sure it's the same Taylorism or if somebody else that did it, but I forget the name of the company, the plant, Lincoln Electric was a big factory, a big place. Right next to them was another, and I forget who it wasn't IBM. I forget, something like that, a big company that everybody's heard the name of, corporation. Okay, the big corporation, can't remember the name of it, they paid their employees very well. And the employees would get, bonuses occasionally if if the company was doing well, all that type of stuff. So the people who worked there were very happy. At the Lincoln Electric Company, they had, I'm not sure if it was quotas. They didn't pay gigantic, wages and that type of stuff. What they did at the end of the year was, depending on how well Lincoln Electric Company did, the employees got a nice bonus. Now they weren't making, the employees there weren't making like the minimum wage. I mean, they were getting more, like they were getting more than the minimum wage, but they weren't getting what like the corporation, right over there that was paying really, really well, good wages. Uh, but at the end of the year, like an electric company, people would get their bonus and they would go buy a brand new car, or they could go buy a big, big boat or something. They did all the way that way. But employees were being constantly timed. Everything was being, you were being, somebody was. I mean, when you went to the, not just the students that were there, but the people who worked there, everybody. So the cashier in the cafeteria, you gave them the correct amount of money or something. You didn't make them make change because there was somebody there with a watch, timing them. And I'm not making this up. Whoever was mopping the floor, there'd be somebody mopping the floor, not just in the cafeteria, but all over, there's people doing it. And there'd be somebody standing there, and they knew how many square feet the person mopped or swept or whatever. Everything was you were being timed all the time. And so I wouldn't do well in that type of an environment. Maybe those people, but so let's see what else this person says, by the way. Oh, okay. Since they deliberately understaffed their stores, the amount of time allowed is relatively short. They also have a rule that if a customer asks where something is, you can't just give him directions. You have to take him there. I worked for CompUSA as a pricer, and I was actually the only one doing it. When they hired me in, there was another lady, but she didn't do very much pricing, and basically she was just kind of telling me, you're working too hard. Take it easy. And then before long, she was gone, and I was the only one doing the pricing. And like other places, I guess like Walgreens, pharmacy, the bank down the corner that I bank at half a block away, their employees, when you come in the door, sometimes their employees are standing at the front door to at the bank, open the door for you. How are you doing? When you come in, and at Walgreens, it's, I'm sure actually you'll walk in the store and somebody will yell at you, welcome to Walgreens. They have to do that. At CompUSA, they had a rule that when you came within so many feet of a customer, you had to say, welcome to CompUSA. What can we do for you? And then when you got done, you had to say something too, like, thank you for shopping with me, Oh. Now, luckily, I was exempt from that. I was the only person really. Of course, other people can be in, like if you were in the back room in the warehouse or something where the employee, but if you were out there, but what I was doing, they just wanted me pricing. And I didn't have to wear any identification or whatever, just pricing stuff. But, I hate that kind of stuff. But somebody in, a corporation makes, hey, we have a great idea, All the employees should greet, people. Let's see what else the questions are. What was the last words of the Challenger crew? How many Navy SEALs died because of the drown-proofing training? Their heads and feet were tied in the water. Let's see, yes, drown-proofing is the number one cause of death in the BUD/S training. Within 3 years, 9 recruits died due to drowning in this event. Despite all of this, it's still incredibly rare, as BUSD/S has state-of-the-art doctors on standby constantly. Uh, I read somebody asked a question. I read, their feet are tied, their hands are tied, they're thrown into the pool. They have something that they have to do. I forget what they have to do. They have to do things. Um, why is Trump removing troops when those left are being attacked? Problem with Donald Trump is, I was not in favor of us going into. I was after 9/11 and going into Afghanistan, and we went in with a small number of troops, and then our troops basically, I think the Kurds, I think it was it the Kurds, or maybe not. Anyway, our troops didn't do very much because Bush and Vice President Cheney were planning to go into Iraq, and so they didn't want. When we went into Afghanistan, they were afraid. Oh hell, uh, if a bunch of our troops get killed, and if there's body bags coming back or whatever, then there will be resistance going into, Iraq. But I was in favor of the troops going in and doing the job, and I was in favor of our troops going in there and doing what was necessary, and then let the people there know if there are any more camps set up, or any more terrorists here that are making plans to attack the United States. We're not coming back with troops. We're just going to level this place. You have mountains. You have those mountains. You won't have mountains anymore. You have whatever. You won't have that anymore. We will just do that. That was my position on that. But so then we had the fiasco with going into Iraq with all the troops, and no weapons of mass destruction were found. Zero, none. And Bush and Cheney and the Republicans told us that it wouldn't cost us any money because we would use the oil money. No, we paid for it with money, and we paid for it with lives. So, what was the question I was? Oh, okay. The thing I want to comment on was, now Trump is pulling out because he made a campaign promise that he would get all the troops out, and that's what he's going to try to do now. But the problem with the problem with Trump is he just makes decisions. I guess he's typing in Twitter, and or somebody on Fox News says, "Oh, Trump hasn't done this or done that," and then I'm doing that, And if you're president of the United States, and I don't care how smart you is, and Trump isn't smart, but no matter who you are, no matter how smart you are, if you're president of the United States, you just don't make decisions, like this, just willy-nilly. You call in the military experts, you call in all these experts, you call in this, the State Department, you call these people, give me a paper, I want a paper from each one of you people, then I want to see you in the office, we're going to talk about this, are there any downsides, have we done, and then they need to be, so much stuff has to be done in the background. You just can't have some clown, orange-headed clown, saying, I'm going to do this. You need to, you know, do we need to take those troops out? Do we need to put more troops in? The troops that are taken out, where are they, where are they going? Are they going back to the United States? Are they just going over to some other country that's on the other side of the mountains? Or, just that you just need so much work done. He just doesn't do that. And two, with Trump, my concern is what kind of a deal is he making with someplace? Because he'd make a deal if he thinks he can make some money, you know, promise somebody. So when Biden gets into office on January 20th, is some country going to say, well, we did such and such, for the United States, and the deal was we were going to get a Trump golf course and a hotel, and then our president was going to get a lifetime free pass to whatever Trump's thing in Florida. I mean, honestly, that's the type of stuff that he does. And maybe that's fine for a businessman, but I don't think it is for a businessman because he's every business that he's had, except maybe for his TV show, 4 casinos, I think it is, went bankrupt of his steak business, his wine business, his university. The list just goes on and on. There's some talk that when Trump leaves office, that he may start a news channel, the Trump news channel. Every business he's had has gone bankrupt. It would go bankrupt too. Now, if he has a show on some channel, he may do all right with his followers. But so far as him running some type of a channel, no. Because he wouldn't listen to anybody. He doesn't listen to people. Plus, I don't see how he could get a channel, even though his supporters might take in a little bit of money. There's no bank in the United States. I think there may be no bank in the United States or in the Western world that would loan him any money because he's gone bankrupt. I don't know how many times. I imagine Russia has already loaned him money and they probably want their money back. So. Did the Pennsylvania Supreme Court reject Trump's lawsuit over election observers in Philadelphia? I'm not sure if that's the case, but because I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about. But Trump and his supporters were screaming that Republican election observers were forbidden from being there to watch the counting of the ballots and that type of stuff. And I said back then, in my YouTube video someplace here, that they weren't election observers. All these election sites, there are Democrats and Republicans. They've been trained, and they're watching what they need to watch. They're watching everything, every step of the way. What happened, and you could see the video on CNN. I know if you're a Republican, CNN, I don't believe anything, but these were people, protesters, Republican protesters that came to where the election was, where the things were being counted, an auditorium or someplace like that. And then they were pressed up against the windows with holding up posters and things and signs and, you know, terrifying the people inside who were working, probably threatening them. These were protesters. Now, maybe a bunch of those protesters were going to observe, but no, you you have the area secured, and you don't just let anybody walk in. You don't let somebody say, "Well, I'm a Republican, so I want to watch." No, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, they all have, okay. You pick your observers, and then they'll be trained. Here are the rules and the guidelines showing them to both. Okay, is this agreeable to both sides? So that was the most memorable moment you ever had in a public restroom. I like these kind of questions, and well, I like the answers. What I like, did you ever meet a celebrity you didn't know was a celebrity? Stuff like that. Hope any questions like that where I sort of like I like that. Have you ever met a celebrity who asked you, "Do you know who I am?" and you said no? Well, I want to read a bunch of these. Wow. Guy parachuted in with a bandolero of gold to give to the French partisans who were fighting. Are you allowed to leave your underpants on when wearing a hospital or exam gown in a doctor's office, or does it have to be taken off? Anyway, let's see what else. I guess let me go to CNN. It's so tragic that these Republican governors would not enforce, masks and things like that, for political reasons. The video ought to be a little bit better. I've got the camera a little bit closer and got some additional lighting. Lights are really important for things. I guess I'm going to bring this to the end. I didn't gather together material, so I'm going to bring this to a conclusion. I thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would love to hit 3,000 subscribers. I've been trying for years to get to, I got to like 2,500, 2,700. I mean, pretty quick. But after that, that's sort of it. I'm very close now to 3,000, so I'd like to get to 3,000. And yes, when I get to 3,000, then I'll be saying, I want to get to 5,000. So anyway, thank you very much for watching.